We continue to inform you about the events on the front line of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Before we begin, dear friends, don't forget to like this video to show your support for the Ukrainian people who are fighting for their freedom. Svatov section, the line of contact in Serebryansky forestry has been clarified. Near Novohorivka, the main battle for height 190.8 continues. It seemed that the enemy had been thrown back and stopped, but new reserves of the Katsaps knocked down the trained units, so the battle resumed with renewed vigor. Russian troops are preparing for revenge on the Kupiansk-Lyman line to seize the initiative in the east, said commander of the land forces of the Ukrainian Armed Forces SYRSKY. In the Kupiansk sector, the enemy is finalizing the preparation of assault units, firing at our positions with artillery and mortars on a daily basis. In the Lyman sector, troops are being replaced with units of the 25th Army formed and redeployed from the territory of the Russian Federation, said the general. Bakhmut direction, the enemy is being pushed back in Klishchiivka. South of it, the situation is difficult, as the enemy continues to stand, relying on the defense along the railroad tracks. The Russian armed forces tried to make a breakthrough in the Donetsk region, but were stopped by mines and artillery. Another destruction of the Russian reserves, which they had been forming for about 10 days after the last assault with equipment. In just 1 week, the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroyed 283 units of enemy vehicles, a record for the entire war. Why is there so much? Military expert Alexander Kovalenko explained that our artillery is already receiving the third line of defense of the Russian Federation, the rear line. From there, the Russians are supplied to support the second line. The Russians are trying to switch to warehouses on wheels to avoid building stationary ones, when you can lose all your supplies at once. And such convoys of 10 to 15 vehicles are sent directly to the front line. The Ukrainian Armed Forces caught one such convoy and everything burned down. The Ukrainian Armed Forces began to test the occupiers' defenses in the Vuhledar sector. And after the Russians smeared all their reserves along the front, our troops dispersed altogether. The occupiers' commander Khodakovsky complains that the Ukrainian army has come close to the Russian defense line in the area of Novodonetske and Novomayorsk. According to him, Ukrainian artillery blew up the enemy minefields with cluster munitions. Intensive artillery training has been going on there for 4 days now, and ours is giving the Russians a lot of nightmares. Zaporizhzhia section, defense forces are trying to expand the wedge near Robotyne, striking towards Verbov and Novoprokopivka. The enemy is trying hard to hold the 163rd Heights. On September 4, fighters of the RDC Legion, Freedom of Russia, staged a raid and broke into the village of Podivity, 3 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. 2 soldiers of the Russian Army's FSB border service were killed. This is how Ukraine continues to fight for its future, for its freedom. Friends who support Ukraine, do not stand aside, put a like.